Hi, I'm Sadie Laflamme-Snow. I play Alice in Hallmark's The Way Home, and this is Young Entertainment Mag. When I auditioned for The Way Home, I knew that Andie MacDowell was going to be playing Dell, so I was already really excited about that. And then I just knew that I had like an immediate connection to Alice. I felt like right from the get-go, I really understood where she was coming from, what she was going through, and then also that she, like, at her core was a really sweet, lovely, loving, caring person, but she had like a lot of walls up, and that was really interesting to me. When you're shooting a time travel show, it's definitely confusing keeping track of two timelines at once, but it was kind of a team effort. It was like me and Kyler and Evan, who are our characters are aware of both timelines, keeping track of all the little details, and then our amazing showrunners Alex and Heather, who have every single piece organized in their brains and are a wealth of knowledge to go to if there's anything that isn't making sense. But it's kind of like Alice is just as kind of confused or like learning as she goes as the audience is. And so I think that was a really nice experience, because it wasn't like the character was expected to really understand everything all the time, and it helped because both Alice and I were like piecing together that stuff as we went along. Do the writers have a map of the timeline? I think that would be a question for our amazing genius writers, but I can only imagine how far they've planned out. And I mean, with the recent announcement of season 2, they've got ideas of where we're headed and responding to what audiences loved about this season. So I think that I think there's a lot more to the timeline than meets the eye in this one season and in the episodes we've seen so far. We've already seen like a little flash of the like way in the past with the White Witch, and I'm really curious to see how that ends up getting revealed. To prepare to play Alice as someone who travels back and forth into different timelines, a lot of it was just about keeping my own facts straight of like, okay, do I know this in the present because it's been told to me in the present? Do I know this in the present because I've been to the past? And then the struggle with Alice is that she can never really say what is actually going on for her, because she's always hiding this huge secret of having traveled to the past. And so I think trying to hold that knowledge of the past in the present is really challenging, and just like she's always holding her tongue. So it's good if like as an actor I can keep my facts straight about like when I learned different things, and that's been a huge help. Favorite thing about playing Alice is that's a really hard question, because I feel like playing Alice has like totally changed my life. Just growing with a character through an entire season is such a gift. And I guess my favorite thing is just, yeah, exactly that, is growing with the character from the first episode to the 10th episode, and now with season 2. And then also just the people who worked on the show, cast, crew, everyone are really, really special. And I think we knew when we were making it that it was like a special project and a special group of people. And I think that really comes through on screen. And so that's just been a huge gift.
What has been your favorite scene to shoot and why?
My favorite scene to shoot, that's not a spoiler. It might be, that's a really tough question. I think probably the dinner table scene in the first episode, when Alice has gone back to 1999, and there's kind of this big reveal of her family members, and they're all just kind of in this like beautiful, nostalgic, happy, romantic family home dinner scene. And it's just, she's taking everything in and getting to know everyone for the first time. And for me, that's where everything kind of clicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the magical piece of this story. It's like her ability to just like slip right in as a like totally unknown person into her family during this like really, really amazing time in their life, and also really like pivotal time in their life where there's so much loss and so much grief. And so yeah, I think that was a big moment for me where I kind of realized what it was that we were doing. And so I'll always remember it. Alice is, I think she's really someone who's going to fight for her family and who loves her family really deeply. But she's also a very like, you know, flawed teenage girl who feels everything really, really deeply. And we're always seeing her like really at odds with her mom and trying to find an escape in the 90s. But I think really at her core, she wants to try and put her family, she doesn't want to like put them back together per se, but she wants them to be able to figure out how to like exist in the present day, because she can see what they're like in the 90s. And I think at first she thinks that her being there can actually change things, like change the terrible things that have happened to her family. But as we kind of go along in the season, we realize that she doesn't have that much agency in the way things went. And so she has to use her knowledge from the past to like really actually just fix what is real in the present. The relationship with Nick is obviously complicated, to say the least. I think that everything that happens in the 90s is like, it's so sweet and so nostalgic, and it's like that perfect kind of like teen movie, like, you know, other than the fact that she's always kind of like lying about where she is. He's just like so sweet to her, and he's never like mad that she's gone for long, and he treats Elliot really nicely, and I just think he's such a sweetheart. I think that, you know, Alice is always hiding something, whether it's in the present or the past, and that's really hard on her relationship with Nick because she can't really tell him who she is. And I know that a lot of people online are like, oh my God, like he's 40, blah, blah, blah. And that they get freaked out that Alice like wants to meet him in the present. And other than her kind of like boy crazy conversation with Elliot that she has at the school being like, age is but a number, I think that Alice is like, she knows that time travel is really complicated on relationships, and there's no way she'd walk up to Nick and be like, I'm Alice, I time traveled, and I was your girlfriend, and now I'm here, like, and like expect him to be like, oh, hey, like, nice to see you, like, we should get married. So I think she has matured from the beginning of the season, where it was really, really hard for her to separate what was happening in the past and the present. And now I think she realizes that as much as she, like, all she needs to know about her relationship with Nick is that she meant something to him, and she doesn't really need anything more than that from that relationship in the present. And she's obviously going through like sadness of like falling in love for the first time and having it be like totally impossible to maintain. But I think that she gets that confirmation that she meant something to Nick, and that relationship was like important to him too, because it really changed her, I think. The time travel mechanism in our show is a pond, and so we're always having to jump into the water or film underwater scenes and different things like that. So a bunch of times we actually are jumping into a pond that's on the same property as that beautiful farm set. It's like, you know, it's a real pond. It's got creatures and weeds and the whole thing. So that's really funny, and it's totally affected by the elements. Like most of the time we filmed, it was like late summer, early fall, but there's definitely later times in the season where we found ourselves in that pond and it was really cold. And then the stuff that you see, oh, and I can't forget to mention our amazing stunt doubles and water safety team, because a lot of the times when you see someone jumping in the pond, it is a double as well. So it just depended on like, you know, what kind of shot we were trying to accomplish, and they like were fantastic and saved us so many times of you know, getting completely submerged in the pond and then having to change and dry off and do it all again. So kudos to them. And then we also shot the underwater stuff in our director of photography's pool, like his backyard pool. So that was just really funny and fun, and he had such a vision, and he was able to create that in that environment, and so that just was the best place to do it. And yeah, Kyler and I both shot the underwater stuff on the same day, and she's really confident with the stunt stuff because of all her work with Supergirl, and so she was like always there making sure I had everything I needed, and like, you know, just looking out for me. So it was really fun, and it was even better once Kat started going in the pond, because then we had each other on those like pond shoot days. One of the biggest challenges of filming this series is the fact that you're working with the pond, because it just ups the ante of like the drama of some of those scenes where you're like soaking wet, or you're just kind of like working with the elements all the time, and you're also kind of trying to hide that from whoever your scene partner is, whether, except for if it's like Elliot or something, and then he knows that you're time traveling. But yeah, you're always kind of like trying to cover for yourself and justify like why you just came from the pond and like all that kind of stuff. So that was just kind of like a practical thing that made it a bit challenging, and keeping track of like, okay, like how long has it been since I've been in the pond, and where am I headed, and all that stuff. So just the time travel in general, I guess, is a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. When I heard that The Way Home had become Sunday's most watched entertainment program, I was just really proud of everyone who's worked on the show. I think I'm pretty new to like this business and industry and stuff, so a lot of the numbers and stuff haven't really been like, didn't mean anything to me until well into the process of like releasing the series, and it just became clear that it was reaching so many people, and so many people were touched by the story and by the characters, and that's kind of when I realized how meaningful it is to people, because it already means a lot to me, and I just like, I was like, wow, someone can be as attached to this story as I am, and I've been living this for months and months. So it just makes me really proud. I think everyone who worked on it put so much heart into it. It was so clear on set and at the Hallmark level, just like how much care has gone into this, and it really shows. And it's just so awesome that people are invested and showing up every Sunday to watch together, and it's been really beautiful. Found out that I was working with Andy and Kyler, and I was immediately like, oh my God, like these are people who like, they're so well known, they're so well loved, and I'm like playing a family member, and I have to like rise to the occasion of working with people who are so iconic. And I was really nervous, but then when we landed on set, there really wasn't any reason for feeling nervous, because they're both like really, really amazing, sweet, and warm and welcoming, and just like, I don't know, we just feel like a family, or like a girl gang. I don't know, that's so stupid, but like I feel like we're a lot of the time we're just on the same page about like how we want to approach the scene, and we're all really curious about like the story. And I don't know, I think like one of the things I'll always remember about this process and working with Kyler and Andy is just that like they care so much about the show and about the story, and so and how it affects like everyone in the world of the story. And it's just such a nice, generous way of being. So I'll always take that with me. I'll always want to approach being on any project in the way that they've approached this one. I love how this season ends. I love the last 2 episodes. Neither of them have come out yet, so I won't say anything too crazy. But I could never have predicted how this season was going to end. And I think that Alice couldn't have either, if that makes any sense. And I'm really looking forward to just how we kind of pick up little Easter eggs that we've planted along the way for next season, and turn them into like full-blown plot points and ideas and stuff. And like, I think that there's definitely a big possibility that there's things that I don't even know that the writers and creators of the show have planted in this season that are going to come to fruition next season. So I'm really looking forward to them. 3 emojis that best describe Alice. The eye roll emoji. I've been using like the mermaid emoji, and what else? Maybe like I've been also using like the little home emoji because it's the way home. But yeah, those are the 3 that I'll say. My favorite part about being an actor in general is just that every day that you show up to set or every day that you audition, you're doing something different, and it's like really creative. It doesn't feel repetitive, it never feels boring. It's really hard work, and I love to work hard. I love to finish my day and be like, oh, that was amazing. Like, not like, oh, my acting was amazing, but oh, that was amazing to like do what I love and feel like exhausted at the end of the day. But like from doing something exhilarating. I love meeting people and telling interesting stories and like trying to justify like why is my character doing this, and being in like a beautiful creative world. And I don't know, yeah, that's my favorite thing. And in terms of where I see my career going, I don't know. I a couple weeks ago I would have said like, all I really like wish for right now is season 2, and then we got that. So I'm just trying to like live in the moment and appreciate the fact that we get to go back and do it all again, and take it to another level. And so yeah, I just can't wait. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment Mag.